Hi, everybody. Welcome. My name is Robert Mahoney. You can call me Professor Mahoney, and I'll be your teacher, instructor for either Physical Science 101 or Physical Science 102, otherwise known as astronomy. So this welcome message is for both of the classes that I'm teaching, Physical Science 101, Physical Science 102. Both of them are on Mondays and Wednesdays, starting on 8:23, ending on 12:08. Both of the classes are in S301, which is on the third floor of the Ward Center, towards the north of the building in the S Wing, and both classes are face-to-face. So what that means is that you're required to wear a mask anytime that you're in the school facility. I don't know if it's required outside when you're walking on the grounds. I don't know. But certainly once you're in the building, and certainly when you're in the classroom, you're required to wear a mask, and you're required to wear it properly. So don't come to class with the mask half on your face and then say, "Oh, I'm wearing a mask." No, because I'll just ask you to leave, and I won't teach until everybody is conforming to wearing a mask and wearing it properly. So I just want you to know that's a strict requirement. And I will be wearing a mask too. Now, I may say you can remove your mask if you're asking a question, because I think that's fair, because I may not be able to understand what you're saying, so we'll see, okay? Now, it's possible that the face-to-face nature of these classes, the 101 and 102 classes, will change depending on whether there's a COVID outbreak on campus. So I don't know that any contingency plans have been made in that regard. I just don't know. So let's just assume that we'll get through the whole semester face-to-face, okay? The lecture, well, that's not really a problem. But there are issues with regard to lab activities and quizzes and tests. And here, let me explain what that means. Both of these classes are gen ed classes. So SXU, even though they're 300-hour classes, SXU requires some hands-on lab-like activities. So I call them lab activities rather than labs, because they're not formally labs, but they do involve hands-on activity. And nominally speaking, we should be able to do all the labs in class, except I think that it's an unhygienic situation. So will I require you to wear gloves when you're doing labs and exchanging equipment, handing the equipment from one person to another, that sort of thing? What if you're, and that sort of thing? You could easily, well, you'd be wearing a mask. So. However, the point of contagion is there without wearing gloves. So I just don't know what we'll do about labs. I have to decide on that. I haven't decided yet. So either the labs will be in class, which would be ideal, because then no quiz on my part is required. If you come to the lab and you perform it, if you're awake, if you're there all the time that the lab activity is occurring. Now, some people have wandered into the classroom, then they're accounted for on attendance, and then they disappear for the remainder of the lab activity, and then they have the audacity to tell me that they did the lab. So you're not going to get credit for doing a lab that you physically weren't there to do, or you were sleeping through. Okay, so in order to get credit for a lab that's in class, face-to-face class, you have to be there and you have to be awake. Okay, you know what I'm saying? So, however, for a variety of reasons, some or maybe all of the labs could be virtual, and virtual labs come in two varieties depending on the class and the material covered. You could have a virtual lab that's based on a video which I've already made. I might make a new video, I don't know, for a particular lab activity, or it might be reading based. Okay. The reading-based virtual labs and the video virtual labs, a quiz will be required And that'll be like a test, except it'll be a lot shorter and it will involve, well, less points. Each lab activity is worth about it's worth 5 points. Not about, but it's equal to 5 points. And there are 6 lab activities. I'll explain how the grading system in general works. The tests, normally, for a face-to-face class, I just have the tests in the classroom like, normal. But I've learned that online testing is actually a lot more convenient for me, and I think convenient also for the students. So right now I'm planning on doing tests online using Canvas, but with the Respondus Lockdown browser, and I'll explain what that is probably on Monday when I see you. I may have another video just on the Respondus Lockdown browser, etc. Okay. However, as far as when tests or quizzes would occur, I'm probably going to do a survey, which is another function of Canvas, and then we'll see what times work best for you. So rather than waste class time setting up and breaking down and basically wasting a whole class just for a test or a quiz, I'll probably do it online using the Respondus Lockdown browser. And if you don't know what that means, welcome to the club. I'll explain it to you. I'll explain to you what the Respondus Lockdown browser is in short order. Okay. What you really need to do, and I'm going to give this to you on Monday. This is probably the only written document that I'll give you a syllabus. Okay. So let's go to that. So I'm going to do the 101 class, but what I tell you basically applies to the 102 class as well. Okay, so don't feel like if you're 102, don't feel like I'm gypping you. Okay, all right, that worked. Hey, that worked quite well. So there's an opening hello kind of statement from me, and then over on the left side, a copy of the current syllabus. Now the syllabus that I'm going to be giving you on Monday, it might be slightly out of date. It might have one upgrade that didn't get into the printed copy. So here you see, basically a description of the course. We're meeting in S301 Mondays and Wednesdays. For the 101 class, 4 to 5:20 are the meeting times. We first meet on 8:23, last meet on 12:08. Okay, then just general learning objectives, and then learning objectives for this course. Okay, academic integrity or honesty. Don't cheat. If you do, you get a 0. I don't know how you could cheat if you're doing the tests using the Respondus Lockdown browser. Okay, well, we'll see. Okay. Outline of topics, etc. Lab activities. Now, there'll be 6 of them. We're going to try to do 6. And there's 7 here, so we'll see which 6 get done for this particular class. And they may be in class or they may be virtual or a combination of the two. If it's in class, then I think you have to wear gloves. I don't know. We can discuss this on Monday. There will be nothing in iCloud. That's a typo. I got to fix that. Basically, the handouts for the labs, the written format for the lab, explaining what the lab is and how to do it, it's going to be on a Google Drive that I own. Okay, and so anybody with a link will be able to basically get that lab activity. It goes right to it. And it's the same thing for the written documentation. Let me see if that's mentioned here. No, that's the first thing, laboratory activities. Okay, well, methods of evaluation. Okay, so there's, again, another comment about iCloud. That's got to be removed. So no iCloud anymore. Okay, so this is, I guess, already out of date. There are going to be 5 tests. Basically, most every 6th class there'll be a test. 1 test, I think the first test will be after the 7th class because there's that 1 day off. Or maybe it'll still be 7. I don't know. So there's 31 classes and 5 tests, so you can see how it's going to be 6 classes, except one will be on the 7th day following the previous test. So the first 4 tests are 20 points. Mostly multiple choice, true and false, that sort of thing. Maybe type something in. Or you need to know what word is needed to fill out a sentence or fill in blanks, one or more blanks in a sentence. Of those first 4 tests, each are worth 20 points, but the lowest of the test scores gets dropped. And it's something that I do towards the end of the semester. And whenever I do it, people freak out. So be sure you read this, okay? So, and I'll be sending you an email that says, don't freak out, but I also get 20 freak out emails, because people think that all the points that they earned, they get credit for. But you don't get credit for all the points that you earned. If you took all of the first 4 tests, the lowest score gets dropped. So those are not points that you earned. Okay, so let's say you got 20, 18, 19, 16, and 20. Well, I gave you 5. Okay, so 20, 18, 19, and 16. The 16 points, that gets dropped. So then you add up to 20, 18, and 19, and that's your total test scores. So the maximum number of points you can get for the first 4 tests is 3 times 20, or 60. The 5th test, which is the final, is not droppable, and everybody takes it at the same time on the last day of the semester. Do not schedule a vacation where you have to fly out of the country the day before the final. Yes, I have heard that. I have been through that before. I just, if you want to get 0, that's a good way to get it, okay? So you've been told, don't do that, all right? So you signed up for this class. You're expected to be here physically on the last day of the semester, okay? And you get one built-in excuse for the first 4 tests, because of course one of the tests is going to be dropped. And so if you decide not to take a test, then that you get a 0 for it, but that's your drop anyway, so you're not harmed by that, okay? However, use your built-in excuse wisely. You only get 1. Same thing for the labs. You get 1 dropped lab. So there's 6 labs, so theoretically you get 30 points, but one of them is going to get dropped, so you could get a maximum of 25 points. Again, use your dropped lab wisely. You only get 1. If you drop 2 labs for some reason, you just don't do them. Don't take the quiz or whatever. If there's a quiz for the lab, the same thing for the test. If you drop 2 tests, well, you get a 0 on one of them, and that goes right towards your grades. So don't mess up. Okay. There will be some assignments. In fact, there's one already up. And the assignments are typically worth 1 or 2 points. So that's a total of 7 points. I will be taking attendance, face-to-face classes. I'm not going to obviously do that if we go remote. But for face-to-face classes, I'm taking attendance, and I'll post your attendance on Canvas probably at the end of the week. So once a week I'll do that. Now, if you miss 2 classes, whether they're excused or unexcused, so you can send me an email, I have to go see the doctor, that's an excused absence, but that still counts towards your 2 absences. So you get 2 absences. I would recommend that you come to every class, so that if you need an excused absence, you didn't already throw those away, okay? Because after 2 either excused or unexcused absences, then each absence thereafter results in a deduction of ½ a point. So you could lose up to 3 points, because that's the maximum value of the attendance portion of your grade. Now, there are people that just don't come to class, so in that case, then they're not going to get any of these 3 attendance points. Okay, so when you add it all up, the maximum that you could get, excluding extra credit, 125. So 112, that looks pretty tight, but it's 90 percentile. B, 99, that's about 80 percentile, a little bit less. C, about 70 percentile, a little bit less. D, I don't know if that's Is that 50? So 62.5. No, it's more like 65 or 67. Anyways, to get a D or an F in my class, you basically just stop coming to class. Now, there are people that do that because things happen in their lives and they just say, well, you know, school's not for me, at least not this semester, and they don't have the advice and the wherewithal to realize that they need to drop the classes within the drop period. So if you decide early on in the semester, I need to drop this class, don't just stop coming because you'll get an F, and that's going to mess up your GPA. So don't do that. Drop the class. Okay. Now it's possible that for medical reasons you could get a drop too, but I don't know how that works at this school. At least I don't know. Some other stuff here. If you have a learning disability, you need an accommodation, then you need to go see Margaret Rose in L108 and get an accommodation request form. Okay. It says confidential accommodation plan in letter format. Something I was put in every syllabus I've ever written since I was told to. If you're pregnant, let me know. Why? Well, I don't want you carrying anything heavy. And if you were in a chem lab specifically, I wouldn't want you to do any chemistry experiments whatsoever because you're, pregnant, right? Office hours, by appointments. So you have to send me an email. I need to see you after class on Wednesday. Okay, then we'll make an arrangement. So you have a private meeting. So this is basically the time I have between the two classes. First class ends at 5:20. Second class starts at 6:30, so there's 15 minutes here that's available for you to talk to me either on Monday or Wednesday. Okay. And if you need to contact me by my SXU email. I do look at the Canvas email, but it doesn't show up on my phone, so I don't see it right away. So if you have an emergency, send me an email here because I'll see it much more rapidly on my phone. I can't actually get SXU Canvas mail on my phone. I don't think it's possible. So anyways, that's the syllabus. Let me close this out here. Okay. Other than that, let's go back to home for a second here. Most of the time I'm communicating with you by announcements. Okay, so here, if you click on announcements, I think there are 3 of them. The first announcement tells you that there's an assignment already posted, which will be due 2 weeks from the first day of class, so it'll be due on 9/6. Now that's actually our day off, that's Labor Day, but this is an assignment that you do online. It's either a written or a video self-description. So I want to know who you are, not because I'm nosy, but because I want to get to know you. So what does it say here specifically? Well, you have to look at the assignment, actually. That's just an announcement of the assignment. Let's go back to announcements here for a second. Then it says here that Module 1P, P for physical science, A for astronomy. So let's say Module 1A is posted in the 102 dashboard, Canvas dashboard. So Module 1P on the scientific method, it gives you a link which takes you to a Google Drive. Okay. And pretty fast, he said. Yes, it is. It's fast. Okay. So let's close this out here. Let's see, what else do we have? We have also assignments. Okay. And there is one assignment here, the self-introductory assignment that I was talking to you about. It's worth 1 point. I want you to tell me who you are. Okay, you can either do it by video, which is nice. However, if you're shy or having a bad hair day or whatever, then you can also submit it by text. It's due by the end of the day, September the 16th, Labor Day. So if you don't do it, you don't get the point, okay? If you do it, you get a point, okay? So take the assignment seriously. Don't do something silly, okay? Say something silly. So let's go back to announcements here for a second, because there's something I wanted to tell you before we finish up. There's an extra credit assignment. Aha! And it asks you if you're free on August the 26th between 5 and 7. Stop by the 4th floor boardroom. If you don't know how to get there, somebody will tell you how to get there. My group from the summer, we're doing our STEM presentation on the biophysics of spiders. Now, there's going to be a lot of people there. There's probably going to be 20 groups, maybe 15. I don't know how many exactly, but everybody's going to be doing posters except us. We're doing an audio-visual presentation. So I think it's going to be super cool, unless the audio-visual equipment screws up. So if you come by and see me and sign my book, then I will award you an extra credit point by manually entering it into your grade book. By the way, if you want to know how you're doing, you can always go to grades. Now, I think for grades you'd only see your line. So this is, if you're Rachel, then you'll see your grades, but you won't see everybody. I will see everybody else's grade, but you can't see anybody else's grade, because that would be, of course, wrong. So you can look at your grades, you can look at your attendance. The lockdown browser, I don't think you see that. I don't know if this may just be something where you can look at videos about the lockdown browser. That's Respondus. Maybe you get these, I don't know. I would suggest that you look at steps to getting started with lockdown browser and using, well, okay, at least the second one, okay? I'll probably do my own video on the lockdown browser. We'll see, okay? So let's see if there's anything else. Well, there is no class on Labor Day. I think I told you that already. Other than that, basically, you go to Canvas and you look at the announcements, you look at the assignments. This thing here, I can't get rid of it. It says modules. That's not the modules that I'm using for the material. So the modules, again, are on a Google Drive, and you get the link for that. Also, lab handouts, you get a link for that too. It's not going to be an iCloud drive. It's going to be a Google Drive. So that needs to be corrected. By the time you look at the syllabus again, presumably on Monday, that will be corrected. Okay? So that's really all I wanted to say to you today. One of the reasons why I want to give you this introduction is so that I didn't have to spend as much time in class talking about the logistics of the class. I'll do this a little bit more, but not as thoroughly perhaps, or I'll just mention this video as we go along. Okay? So until then, very nice meeting you virtually, and I look forward to meeting you in person, getting to know you, and I hope that your self-assignment introduction is entertaining. Again, if you're an extrovert, definitely use the video format. It's lots of fun. Okay? So I'll see you on Monday, either at 4 or at 6:30. Bye-bye.